Mr. Coburn.
Grazie, Presidente. Mr. Draghi, it's always a pleasure to see you. Back in August this year at Jackson Hole in the USA, you warned politicians that a return to protectionism would pose a serious growth for the global economy. I must say I agree with you on that one. Many politicians ignore the danger protectionism poses, particularly to the stability of the banking system. I wonder if you need to back up your advice with some impact studies. Have you, for example, begun any calculations on the impact that Catalonian independence would have on the Spanish government debt, and critically on the Spanish banks that hold that debt? And after all, Catalonia represents some 20% of that Spanish GDP. Similarly, what would be the impact of Brexit on the EU's most fragile banking system, those of Spain and Italy? Both these countries are net recipients of EU funding and are likely to be hard hit by the EU budget cuts. Failure to reach a Brexit deal with the UK will be a form of protectionism, not only hindering EU growth in GDP and raising the cost of government borrowing, but also making it more expensive for EU banks and their corporate customers to access the international finance market. Will you conduct an impact study to highlight the consequences of EU protectionism? And furthermore, of course, 85% of the EU's capital market business is transacted through London. So for economies of scale, it must come through London. Mike Carney said London is the EU's investment bank. By attacking London and not coming to a deal, you're putting stress on the EU banks regarding access to finance. It is Spain, Italy. This is therefore an issue for European stability and something for your European Risk Board to think about. I think you should obviously be thinking of that. I wonder if you could comment on that.
Thank you. Well, I certainly agree with you that Brexit is an important existential event, the consequences of which ought to be discussed and analysed. And why haven't we done so yet? At least the SRB hasn't done it. Because we don't have yet a precise or even imprecise view of what the negotiating platform will be. We know that the size of the markets is actually very, very significant. No matter which branch of the financial markets we consider, or the banking sector we consider, the numbers are certainly very significant. So they do deserve our full attention as soon as we'll have a more precise view of how the negotiation is going to go. I said before that this transition can be managed in a smooth way, minimizing the negative consequences, but it should be done without compromising over the integrity of the single market. And as I said, this is easier to be said than done. And in a sense, the ECB is not party to the negotiation. And frankly, if we had been, it would be a very, very difficult task for us. So now we look at how the two sides proceed with their negotiation. As soon as we will have a better view, we'll certainly have a discussion. The ESRB is an ideal forum for that discussion because it's not limited to the euro area, it's not limited to central banks, it does have all countries, it does have supervisors and central banks, and as I've said before, also independent voices, chairs of the two committees. So it's actually the good place where to have this discussion.
Can I just carry on? A little time left. It seems to me that Mr. Barnier and Mr. Verhofstadt are basically playing chicken. Two cars racing at each other, full pelt, and see who blinks first. And the problem with this is it's causing a great deal of trouble for everyone. And it's only because they're absolute Euro fanatics and they want to punish Britain. This is very dangerous for the EU's economy, for Spain, for many countries in the European Union, and perhaps you should speak out and tell Mr Verhofstadt and Mr Barnier to sort it out and get on with things.
As you know, I'm a member of the Brexit steering group together with Mr Verhofstadt, and
Well,
I can assure you that we do not have any punitive intent, but we are looking for a fair deal which minimises the disruption of Brexit.
I hope you'll speak to them, Mr Gualtieri.
I don't need, because we agree on
man.
that. We agree.
Thank you.